Good morning. I'll call this meeting, Lebanon County Board of Commissioners to order. We begin our moment as traditional with our moment of silence, please. Thank you. If you all join me, push the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You. That brings us to time for public comment. Sir, would you introduce yourself for the record? And
I'm glad to do so. Thank you. My name is Michael Schroeder and I live in South Anvil Township. I'd like to revisit the question of the draft resolution that a group was submitted, I think at 2 of the last 3 county commissioners meetings. At both of those meetings, Commissioner Litz moved to adopt our draft resolution, but that resolution died for lack of a second. So both of Commissioner Kuhn and Commissioner Phillips have declined to endorse or support this draft resolution. So I'm here to respectfully ask why. And your reasoning, we have argued that these 287G agreements with county agencies represent a kind of moral hazard for the agencies and offices that agree to them. And we explained our reasoning. So I'm here to respectfully ask the commissioners who declined to support that resolution what their reasoning is and why you are not supporting that draft resolution. Thank you.
From my side of it, and I think I did explain this at the last meeting, was that I respect the offices of the duly elected officials that are closest to this issue. And though we will watch and see if there's something that I don't understand or like, then I would go to either the sheriff or the DA. But at this point, I'm not going to be second guessing these public officials on what they're closest to and is within their expertise. So that's my reasoning. It may change if something changes that I would, go to them or revisit something. But at this point, that's where I am.
thank you, Mr. Phillips. And I spent significant time talking to you and other members of the group that were here at that meeting as the meeting ended to share similar thoughts about why I'm not interested in that at this time.
So then you disagree that it would create an institutional incentive to cooperate with the federal government and that it creates a kind of moral hazard. You disagree with that, or that it creates a moral hazard?
From my perspective at this point, I think things are working well. But I haven't seen any problems and continuing to monitor the situation.
Thank you.
From my point of view, Mike, I'm just going to respond that I'm going to let my statement stand as it has. I'm not going to debate it further.
Sorry.
Tom Overholt, resident of Cornwall. On this 287 issue, what I would like to know is how is the county and the commissioners going to be accounting for this? How much money is coming in? How do you know that? Where's it going? How's it being spent? Okay. And then what metric are you using to establish the effectiveness of this 287 money?
I can just say that the sheriff got $100,000 at the last meeting that was accepted, and it went into a separate bank account. I don't know if it might have been Fredericksburg National Bank. I'm not First Citizens. I'm sorry. I knew it was an F, and I was trying to remember.
Mm-hmm.
So they opened in a special account, and the money's in there. Our sheriff is here. He might be able to answer more.
We did not. We just opened the account. We did not receive any money yet. I know the money is.
I thought she had a check. Did you not have a check?
No.
I could have sworn she had a check.
Checking account was established.
Might have been coincidence. She was holding a check when she spoke. I don't know.
So I try to answer your question. That was the purpose of setting up this account so that money can be specifically accounted for. It doesn't get commingled with county funds.
Okay, and there are other entities in the county that are going to be accepting money.
And I don't know the answer to that at
So
this point.
I'm encouraging you to have an accounting for this. Who's accounting for the spending of the money?
Again, at the federal level, that's why they want a separate account set up, correct?
That's
Tina?
correct.
So the commissioners have no mechanism to account for how the money is being spent or what it's being spent on.
I had asked for it to go to the general fund and
That's
then
not, no, that's not a correct statement.
I
That's
was,
not a correct statement. Like
What is the correct?
I said, it is under control.
It comes into our office.
But then,
It comes into the general fund, and then from the general fund, it'll get distributed into the sheriff has a.
Holding account for it.
right, and then then who accounts for how that money's being
Well,
spent?
We.
And who do you report that to? I guess.
The controller would be the auditing.
It follows the normal spending practice.
Just like any other funds or grants.
So we can come and ask and say, how was the money spent last month? And you would know.
Well, we
Maybe
can
not
find
at
out.
that moment, but
But you can find out.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm glad that that there's some mechanism for it being accounted for. What metrics are you using to establish the effectiveness of this money coming into the county?
that I can answer that at this point.
Yeah, it's too early to tell, but public safety, the two experts, the two elected officials are in charge of that. Whatever their conclusions are that we need for public safety, we would get involved more directly if they would need additional money beyond their budget for what their positions are. And then that's how we would have to then decide, do we want to fund any further and make those decisions? But as far as metrics and so on, we're at the front end of this thing.
Well, may I suggest
You may suggest.
that you count how many interactions you have with enforcement and removal, right, at the federal level. That's where ultimately the money's coming from. So you count what those interactions are, and you further define what those interactions are in terms of, are they contacting you or you contacting them? Second, public safety, this is all what we're interested in. How many people have been detained using this money, or this money ostensibly, my understanding, it's not clear from the accounting yet, that that's what the money's coming in for. How many people have been detained? So you count how many people have been detained. Then the last thing is what happens to those people? You know, how many of those people, once detained, where do they go? What happens to them? How many of them are adjudicated and in fact a mistake was made? They're US citizens or they're here properly, or
Their identity.
their identity, who they are, what's going on, that you account for that.
I think they're at they go to the prison and they would be checked in there if I'm not wrong. They're not doing that anymore?
No, they never were. They aren't detained in our prison for ICE. The only,
There would be a detainer placed on somebody, but they would be in our prison on a criminal charge that's local to us.
if that's the case.
If that's the case.
If
If-
there's nobody being held at the Lebanon County Prison solely on an ICE team.
No, but what I wanted to get to, if someone is being detained solely on an ICE detainer, they wouldn't go to our jail.
Right,
They
that's
would go to an
exactly
ICE
right.
facility.
They would go to a facility, they would first go to York, where there's a processing center, and then from there, they would be moved to a holding facility.
I believe this is my point, is that you guys as the commissioners should establish some metrics and require reporting back to you about what's happening. You know, how many people are detained, where do they go, and ultimately what happens to them. I mean, I am mostly concerned about working people in our county, my neighbors. And if we're picking up people in our county, I think you should know what's happening to them and whether you can then announce that we have some effective public safety measures that are going on here. So that you account for the money that's coming in and how effectively it's being used. So I would please encourage you to establish some metrics, figure out what's going on, how many people are being detained, ultimately, how many people, end up being deported, or where they go, in the system and what's happening to them.
Thank you.
May I ask the sheriff a question? Sir, do you file federal reports either monthly, quarterly, with what you've done? Would that be,
Time that we participate in an arrest, it is documented through ICE at their facility in York or with the agents that are here. So as for how many people, I don't know the number off the top of my head. I can get that for you probably, without a doubt. What happens after we take them to York? We're out of the process.
Getting that number for me is important, but I think reporting that number on a regular basis is even more important in terms of what's happening to these people. And I believe that this 287 money is not for arrest, but for detentions.
No, it's not. Again, like I said, we can talk afterwards.
Okay,
You know, my door's always open for you guys, so.
I'm happy to take this offline
Thank you.
and say,
Thank you.
because I'm confused about arrest and detention, which are two different systems and involve two different levels of.
Well, we would appreciate if you would continue that conversation after we do have an agenda and we've given latitude. Yeah, this is time for public comment, but Jim, if you have a question.
I want to piggyback what this gentleman said. The sheriff's department has opened a bank account. And I'd like to have all three commissioners on the record, if they'd be so willing. Do you believe that the DA's office should follow suit and also open up an account through the general fund? Because he's taken steps to do this. The DA's office signed this agreement in February. And we've heard nothing of the DA's office that may be receiving money through ICE from the federal government, but that office has not opened an account like Mr. Marley did in a recent meeting. Do you as commissioners believe the DA's office should open an account similar to what his office did? Why or why not? Thank you.
We haven't been approached by the DA about such a concept, so when that time comes, I don't have an opinion on it right now. I have to look to our solicitor and Jamie and others that's my opinion.
I think we should follow the excellent example that the sheriff set. I think that's the right thing to do. So it's, we're not supposed to operate behind closed doors. We're supposed to have transparency. So I think he set up a wonderful example that the DA could follow.
Guess my opinion is if it's needed, she will do the proper thing. If we're early that she has not had any money to isolate and to put in a special account, then that's when that time comes, I'm sure she'll do the right thing.
If I could, just to clarify, Tina and Jeff, this was not our idea. This was a contingency about receiving possible funding that it has to have a defined separate account set up. That was a federal
Yes.
requirement, correct?
State does the
Our
same
idea.
thing. They like to see the interest bearing because they can choose to ask for that money back.
Correct. Thank you.
And that she has not approached you.
She has not.
You understand my point?
So they're required to set up an account, but as far as the commissioners know, that's not occurred with the DA's office as of yet.
That's not.
I've not heard anything.
Okay. Any additional public comment at this time? Okay, if not, we'll move on to approve the minutes from the meeting on April 2nd, but also to note that we had a workshop to discuss matters in executive session for personnel on April 1st.
Make a motion to approve.
I will second the motion.
Motion and second, questions, comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Tina, would you please introduce yourself for the record and proceed with your report?
Yes, Tina Tobias, acting treasurer. We started with a cash balance of $3,186,946.13. We received $194,567.21. Brought our total cash to $3,381,513.84. Less expenditures of $1,666,734.29. And less tax claim of $72,000. $758.85, which brought our cash balance to $1,642,020.20, and that includes payroll for tomorrow.
I'll move to approve the report as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments? If none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Thank you.
Approved. Thank you. Joe, good morning. Please introduce yourself for the record and then proceed.
Michelle Idris, Director of Human Resources. Under Personnel Transactions, Resignations and Terminations, Jenna Collins, Caseworker 1 in Children and Youth resignation effective April 7th, last working day, April 1st. Christina Draven, Caseworker 1, Children and Youth resignation effective April 24th. John Kern III, full-time correctional officer at the jail resignation effective April 2nd, last working day, March 29th. Juliet Arancibia, Assistant Public Defender 1 in the Public Defender's Office resignation effective April 17th. And Joseph Walsh, full-time Deputy Sheriff in the Sheriff's Office resignation effective April 24th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Other questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. That's approval.
Under leaves of absence, Alan Yings, Building Security, 10-week unpaid leave of absence effective March 9th with an expected return date of May 19th.
Make a motion to approve the leave of absence.
I'll second the motion.
Second, questions, comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. That approved.
Under changes of status, transfers, and promotions, I have a motion to approve entering into a collective bargaining agreement between the Court-Appointed Professionals Unit and the County of Lebanon for the term of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028, and authorizing the signing of the agreement. Highlights of the collective bargaining agreement: a 3-year term, wage increases at 4% each year, no changes to the annual health insurance deductibles and copays, additional level added to the longevity plan, and additional non-economic article revisions.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
The second, questions, comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. That approved.
Under other transactions, Children and Youth would like to hire Aaliyah Typo as a fiscal technician at the rate of $21.98 per hour effective April 20th. Children and Youth would like to hire the following 2 caseworker 1s, both at the rate of $1,629.56 biweekly effective April 20th. And that is Alicia Bush and Miranda Reisinger.
So moved.
Second.
The second, questions, comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. That approved.
Moving on to salary board, motion to approve all transactions previously read plus the following. Gabriel Lopez, longevity payment, full-time correctional officer at the jail. This is a one-time 15-year longevity payment at the rate of $2,750 effective May 1st.
So moved.
Second.
The second, questions, comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. That approval.
That's for sure.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Holly, would you please introduce yourself and your guests for the record, and then you may proceed.
Absolutely. Good morning, Holly Leahy, Administrator for Lebanon County Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities, Early Intervention Programs. And I did bring some partners along this morning.
Yes, my name is Randy Klein with Tremco. My name is Matthew Klein with Tremco.
Thank you. So we do have several items this morning. I'll begin with the MHIDEI contract amendments for fiscal year 2025-2026. We have quite a few. There are 49 contract amendments in total. Those are 4 for our building, 1 for mental health, and 44 are the remaining for early intervention. Those are to cover additional units and the statewide mass rate change in effect from the Office of Child Development and Early Learning. Those are retroactive back to July 1 of 2025. So we had to do quite a few contract amendments to fulfill those rate changes with the providers. The total is $874,953. All contract amendments will be covered through existing allocations and funds. Therefore, we are not requesting any additional county tax dollars to cover these amendments.
I'll move to approve.
Second,
Motion and a second. Are there questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. Same sign. You have that approved.
Thank you. Our next item is for the building, and that is for our roof replacement for our office building at 220 East Lehman Street. The roof has come to the end of its life and does need replaced. We have partnered with Tremco to assess the roof, create specifications for the replacement, and then identification of potential roofers to complete the project. And so they will present a brief overview of our roof this morning and answer any questions.
What was that name again? Central Roofers?
Tremco.
Oh,
So to provide a brief history on how we got here, we were contacted by the county in February by Steve Klein due to ongoing leaks and the overall poor condition of the building. And shortly after that conversation, our team conducted several site visits where we did visual inspections, took core cuts, as well as doing asbestos testing, which we sent back to our lab in Ohio. And that came back negative, which was that was great news. Shortly following that, we met with Holly, her team, developed drawing sets and full specifications. Our proposed solution is to remove, there are currently two roofs up there. There's an underlying build-up roof as well as a retrofit EPDM roof. So we'll be tearing off both of those roof systems and going back with a 1/4 inch per foot tapered insulation, as well as 4x4 sumps at all the drains to ensure that there's no more ponding water on that roof. As a part of the project, we also have a cover board and a 60 mil key single ply membrane on top. We also replaced the metal edge system, improve all of the flashings, what new counter flashings on the lower roof area. And we're raising all of the units on top to ensure there's minimum 8-inch flashing heights as per the NFCA. All electrical work will be included with that as well. For the project itself, we will conduct weekly progress meetings. Anybody from the county who would like to be included is more than welcome. And we will have 2 job site inspections. A member of our team will be there for the entirety of the day, 2 days per week, make sure everything goes as planned. And then following the completion of the job, we will provide a 30-year warranty covering all roof leaks.
The method of procurement utilized was KPN. The county's used that at the prison and various other facilities over the years. So, excuse me, so we selected 4 contractors. Apologize. Progressive was the low contractor. We were lucky to get an aggressive number out of Progressive. We were a little concerned. It's a very difficult project. It's a smaller project. There's a lot going on with the taper, the metal edge, and a tight time frame to complete it for the county. So we were very lucky to Progressive. It fit their eyes. They weren't looking for work in that time frame. I don't think the other contractors are way out of line. I think Progressive wanted it and had the ability to do it in that time frame. The methodology is, like it says, the KPN. You're protected through KPN, the line items. There's no change orders. Specifications are very solid, they're written as well. As far as next steps go, it is a tight time frame, as I mentioned. So with board approval today, we'll start the process immediately. In the next 2-3 weeks, we plan with color selections of the metal and material ordering with the contractor. We'll start the middle of May, early mid-May, load the roof. And with completion date of the end of June, it'll take them right to the end of June to be complete. So the intention is final inspection off-site by the end of June. So not a lot of room for error, but we've got it planned out, and the contractor knows that they are the apparent low bidder pending approval, and they have confirmed that they can include that on pages.
Just give a couple minutes on how it's going to be paid for.
Absolutely. We have located funds within our current existing funding, our allocations, state, federal, and county funds. So all of that is within our budget. So we have not necessitated any additional county tax dollars to cover that. So it is well within our all of our allocations, and our current funding level is adequate for that.
But that also is dictating the timeline to get that spent.
Correct. Yes, because we only have those funds available through June 30th of 2026, because we run on a fiscal year. So that is the end of our fiscal year. After that, we would not have those funds available. Those will be utilized for other services and supports within the next fiscal year. So we really needed to complete this project within this tight time frame. And when it was identified, we wanted to move as quickly as possible in order to utilize those funds that were identified.
You have two small questions. By membrane, you're saying a rubber roof?
It's a single ply roof, yes.
Okay, I want to make sure I was understanding your terminology. And the second is, have you or we ever dealt with Progressive before? And have you looked at their, reports? Are they credible?
They are very good. All contractors were vetted before we invited them. They were
Okay.
very good. They just finished a large project in Palmyra,
Oh, okay,
GSK Pharmaceuticals, and very good contractor.
okay.
Good track record.
Just needed that comfort. Thank you.
Sure.
I'll gladly make a motion to approve the awarding of the contract to Progressive in the amount of $496,940.
Second.
Motion a second. Questions, comments? None? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those same signs. That approval.
Thank you very much.
Susan, I just had one question. I think you said that the roofs, like, there were two roofs, or was one put on top of another one?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
They'll both come on.
Here's some pictures if you want.
Yes, we do have additional copies of the overview with pictures and information. So if anyone would like a copy, you are more than welcome.
And that's caused some drainage issue too, because when they're stacked on top, it's pooling of water, and that's more likely. So once all that comes off, it'll all get sloped and tapered right to the drains, and this should last a long time.
Yes, this was created over many, many years. So this was not something that happened overnight, but it is something that has brought it to the end of its life.
So those two roofs, were like original to the building?
I don't know
Oh,
the top of it.
sequential.
No,
Yeah.
no, the build-up roof underneath was original, then later, probably 20 years later, so they put the second roof.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Did you say where Progressive is from?
Mount Joy.
Mountjoy, okay, it's not too far.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You have an
Thank you very
additional
much.
item,
I have one additional item.
gentlemen?
Yes,
Thank you, but.
thank you very much.
So,
Yes.
choose.
Okay, so I do have one additional item, and this is a project that we've been working on for quite a few years now as well. So this is about our Lebanon County Crisis Intervention System Dynamic Enhancement Plan. And so I've created a summary about that, and I'd really like to talk about our accomplishments and what the recommendations are from that plan. So I'll go back just a little bit in October of 2022 in an effort to support Pennsylvania counties in developing a full continuum of crisis intervention services that really align with SAMHSA's national best practice standards. The Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services mandated counties to choose one of three funding categories with a goal of increasing access to mental health crisis services. Lebanon County MHIDEI chose to formally assess our current crisis intervention system and develop a plan including actionable strategies to improve coordination, reduce emergency department boarding, and to expand community-based responses to support long-term sustainability. Lebanon County MHDEI received ARPA, that's the American Rescue Act, Community Mental Health Services Block Grant funding, and contracted with the Panto Group, a crisis system consultant, to complete this assessment and develop a plan. The Panto Group interviewed over 95 stakeholders and consumers, collected quantitative data, and then examined and compared their findings to SAMHSA's national guidelines for behavioral health crisis care, or the best practices toolkit. The Panto Group completed its analysis and issued recommendations to address gaps and strategically advance Lebanon County's crisis intervention services toward national standards, while ensuring the approach remains practical and achievable using existing financial and community resources. The Panto Group recognized the challenge for Lebanon County to simply maintain the delivery of basic crisis services within the constraints of current financial resources. So the full document is accessible electronically on our Lebanon County MHIDEI webpage. But really simply stated, I'd like to give you those recommendations. There are 7. Strengthen MHIDEI and formally expand the crisis collaboration team. Develop memorandums of understanding and create standardized workflows across stakeholder systems. Enhance law enforcement partnerships. Expand crisis mobile response services, peer services, and stabilization options. Improve collaboration with schools through training, education, and outreach. Build a crisis system data warehouse to evaluate throughput, response times, frequent utilizers, and outcomes. And then pursue diversified long-term funding and advocate for updated, realistic Pennsylvania crisis regulations and reimbursement mandates. I will say throughout this multi-year process, MHIDEI and our crisis program continue to push forward and collaborate with community stakeholders to improve the delivery of crisis services. And we've had some wonderful accomplishments. If I could just give a highlight of those accomplishments over the years. We did have creation of a new crisis walk-in center that's located at 209 Hathaway Park. We had expansion of mobile crisis services to include real-time community response, meeting people in the community where they are and where they need. Integration of certified peer specialists. Creation of the mobile crisis collaboration team, which aligns stakeholders to better work with one another, improves technology to include phones with GPS and CAD integration for the safety of the crisis workers in the community, and align with the Department of Emergency Services. And then the future, we will, in collaboration with the Department of Emergency Services and 911, will include automatic deployment of crisis intervention mobile services as a first responder. We also had creation of the crisis community liaison role, working with stakeholders in the community, piloting crisis response to safe tips. Those are for schools. And finally, crisis staff met and continue to meet with Lebanon County Police Departments and school districts to provide education on available crisis services and really explain how crisis can support them. Quantitative positive results have been seen. Increase in mobile crisis interventions, increase in walk-ins, a decrease in the emergency department visits, an increase in billable phone calls to crisis intervention. That means that they're long enough and they're really meeting the needs of the individuals in their community. So we are seeing consistently more people in the community than in the emergency department. We have definitely seen a decrease in involuntary 302 commitments. We have seen a decrease of behavioral health patients boarding in the emergency department more than 72 hours. In 2022, the average length of stay in the department for behavioral health services was 27.8 hours. And in 2025, this average decreased to 12.8 hours, quite a significant decrease. We can also say that MHIDEI or Lebanon County has had open beds and no wait lists for our long-term beds at the extended acute unit, as well as Warnersville State Hospital. So we're really well utilizing all of the services. But really what it means is that we're meeting the needs of the community and we're ensuring that we are getting them to resources and services that meet their needs so they don't have to go into those long-term services that take them out of our community. We've won several awards. And then we want to say that our greatest success has been the decrease in completed suicides, which dropped from 30 in 2024 to 18 in 2025. While at the same time, we are seeing the number of individuals presenting to crisis with suicidal ideation and seeking help continuing to rise. So we are seeing higher numbers coming to crisis intervention for suicidal ideation.
I guess has the trend continued through first quarter of this year?
This year we have had 6 completed suicides. So we never know how that trending will continue, but we do hope that that trending will continue with those lower numbers in 2026. And that was as of Friday that I had those numbers for suicide.
Going back up halfway, you mentioned open beds and no waiting list. Are other counties still utilizing our beds when we're not utilizing them so that we're not paying for empty beds? Or I'm just curious. Didn't we talk about that?
So when it comes to the extended acute unit, that is a collaboration between 5 counties for those beds. And yes, we really loan those to other counties when we do not have referrals and individuals to utilize those beds. Those are all paid for through the Health Choices Medicaid system. So we never pay for the extended acute unit beds or individuals utilizing those beds. But we most definitely partner with our other counties to ensure that all beds are filled at the extended acute unit. When it comes to Warnersville State Hospital, we rarely have any beds open. And so, if we do have one bed, normally it's filled pretty quickly. So we really don't have, at this time, all 26 of our beds are full.
Okay.
And we do not have any wait lists. So that's a positive. So everyone who needs state hospitalization, the needs have been met. And we don't have anyone sitting in a community hospital waiting for state hospitalization.
Thank you.
Yeah, additional question.
Yeah, sorry to go back to compare the fiscal year comparisons.
Yes.
Are those unique individuals or are they raw numbers?
Those are unique individuals. We always deal with unduplicated or unique individuals. We like to ensure that we're having accurate numbers, and all of that is tracked through our system, as well as the system through Wellspan Philhaven, a provider for crisis intervention. Absolutely. So I would just like, in conclusion, to say that the crisis system enhancement plan has shown that while Lebanon County still has much progress to make in reaching national standards, our crisis intervention team is effectively meeting the needs of our community. The data clearly shows that our approach works for Lebanon County. We have made meaningful strides and we remain committed to continuing that forward momentum. We are grateful to the Panto Group for their expertise and dedication in creating this roadmap to guide us in the development of a modern, person-centered crisis continuum grounded in national best practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Holly. Again, I get to attend the board meetings as our liaison, and it starts there. You have a good board. They're very engaged, but again, I get to hear from you and your team at those meetings, and she has an excellent team, and the results show. So thank you on behalf of the our county for the job well done. Keep it up.
Well, thank you. We couldn't do any of this without your support. So thank you so much for your ongoing support. We are very appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Audrey, good morning. Would
Good
you
morning.
please have a seat, introduce yourself for the record, and then you may proceed.
Thank you. Audrey Fortnett, Director of Probation Services. I can't believe it's been 2 years, but it has. April of 2024, Judge Tillwalk and I presented a request to you to make application to Susquehanna Service Dogs for the use of a court facility dog. We were given permission to proceed, and the application process can last anywhere from 12 to 24 months. I am here and pleased to say that a tentative match has been found for the department. This is, I believe, the 10th dog that we've met. So we finally have a dog that seems to be very well suited for what we're looking for. The purpose, again, for the facility dog is to ease the stress and anxiety of individuals who come into the office for appointments or who are participating in court hearings. It will mostly be used for our treatment courts, so for DUI court, drug court, veterans court. And as we continue to need to look at building a mental health court, this would be extremely beneficial in the use in the mental health court as well. In addition, we can use the dog for public events like National Night Out. If we have children coming in the juvenile unit who are experiencing some anxiety, it'll be very beneficial there as well. And I have to say that an added benefit will be for the staff, just staff wellness in addition. There will be no cost to the county. This has been built into our IP grant for the past 2 years in anticipation of when we would get that phone call. In addition, JRI 2 funds have become available to the adult unit. I will be presenting that to you at the next meeting. So any costs that weren't covered in IP grant, we may be building into that as well. And then anything that would come up that's not covered in the grants, Judge Tillwalk has dedicated the use of supervision funds to take care of expenses for the facility dog. Training is scheduled to start. Virtual training starts the end of April. And then there is a 2-week field training that is the first 2 weeks of June. We have identified the 2 handlers. There's a primary handler and a secondary handler. Both of them would be attending the trainings. I have verified with P Corp that there would be no additional liability insurance required if we do proceed with the use of a facility dog. And I can tell you that I have reached out to our individual staff just to verify that nobody in the building has an allergy or, does not want to have any contact with the dog. And that's something that we will start building into our interview process too, making applicants aware that there would be a dog on the premises if we're approved. And then again, if approved, it's something that we would poll the treatment court participants in as well. We would designate no dog zones in the courtroom as needed. And any individuals in the office who we think would be appropriate or would benefit from meeting with the dog would be asked first. So there would be no forced or no unwanted interaction between an individual and a dog. I have provided you with a rough draft of the policy, and I stress rough draft. I did notice some typos when I was sitting out there. So after meeting with Susquehanna Service Dogs yesterday, I do have some things that I need to add to that. Once I feel a final draft is completed, I will forward it to Attorney Booley and to President Judge Tillwalk for their final approval. And so at this point, we are seeking your final approval to move forward with the facility dog.
Awesome.
Okay, second.
So we have a motion and a second. Are there questions or comments? All in favor of the
Wait.
motion?
Sorry. You didn't look
Go
over
ahead,
here.
sorry.
What breed of dog is it?
It is a yellow lab. So they do advise and suggest that we don't give too much information at this time because once you start the actual training, it is a tentative match, so the dog could display its desire not to work the way that it may not be a mesh. And so, we do have, yes, we learned the name yesterday, but they advised us not to share too much information from the start, but I will tell you it's a yellow lab.
And you said, it almost sounded like you were adopting a child. I met with, these people.
Yeah, it's,
So,
Waiting for the call.
yes, yes, that's kind of how it's
and
felt.
so your team or whoever the decision makers were, you interviewed 10 dogs prior to?
We, yes, met with the staff at Susquehanna. And they, we've discussed with them through the application process and then through individual meetings with what purpose we were looking to utilize the dog. And so they, they're working closely with the dogs, can determine like which dogs they feel best suit us. And so our first meeting, we interacted with 5 different dogs. Now I don't know how many different agencies also met with those dogs, but we weren't paired with any of those 5. And then the second meeting, there were 4, and we also were not paired with any of them. And we just received this email kind of out of the blue about 2 weeks ago. This was kind of a surprise match, where this was a dog that was going to be a breeding dog. And for whatever reason, they determined, I think through her personality, and her temperament, that she likes to work, that she would be very well suited for this role. And so we actually got to meet her yesterday and we agreed.
And who would the handlers be? Are they law enforcement or are they court personnel or?
It's 2 of my officers. One is our DUI court officer. She will be the primary handler, and secondary handler will be our drug court officer.
Thank you.
Are you going to bring her to a future meeting so we can meet her?
Yes, we will absolutely do that. We will also, if approved, well, I guess it was approved. So we will also send emails out to the courthouse and to determine if there are any offices who will not want any contact either, because of her participation in the treatment court process, she'll be over in the courtroom quite frequently. So we will have to walk her through the courthouse. So just to make people aware, and when she's wearing her vest, that means she's working. And so there are limitations on what type of interactions there should be as opposed to when the vest is off. So we'll make sure that individuals working in the courthouse will also be aware of those requirements.
Thank you.
Additional questions or comments on the motion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, for the same time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Forward to meeting. Mr. Cote. Please have a seat, introduce yourself for the record, and you may proceed.
The legend has arrived.
I don't know about that. Good morning. I'm Tom Cote with the Lemon Valley Rails to Trails, Inc. Board. I'm the primary grant writer for LVRT Inc. and for the county when it comes to the rail trail. And here's some additional copies of the materials for you and Laura. I think we provided a packet to you on Tuesday. We're submitting an application at the end of April for LVRT Phase 10C. This is really a new project on the horizon for us. As you recall, we had often talked to you about completing the project at Lickdale Road. Well, now there's a need for an extension across Lickdale Road at what PennDOT would call a mid-block crossing, because Lickdale Road is a state route. We want to put in a trailhead at Lickdale Road.
We're now in the process of acquiring an easement through the Jonestown Hershey KOA, and that easement will allow us to build a path that will get to the trail system in Swatara State Park. And from there, literally, people can go almost anywhere. They can get on the Appalachian Trail ultimately, they can get on the trail system in State Game Lands 211 and go toward Harrisburg. So this is a really interesting project for us. I usually come here with a lot of confidence that we have all the details ironed out, but as of today, we still don't. We're in the process of acquiring the property for the trailhead. We're in the process of getting the easement through the campground. We hope to have those in the next couple of weeks. If we don't, we'll have to amend our application and ask for some retroactivity from DCNR. They always like those things in the package, full and complete when you submit your application, which we must do by the end of April. We're having a big conference call with DCNR staff next Thursday to finalize all those details. And if you see at the bottom of my handout to you, we're still in the price range category. We think it's going to be closer to $550, but we still have some details to work out. Those details are being done by the Wilson Consulting Group, our rail trail engineer, your bridge engineer as well. So we're excited about the project. It has a lot of potential. It's going to meet a lot of needs in that part of the county. And I guess with that, I'll stop and allow you to ask me any questions.
Well, do you have a start and stop date?
Yes, we do. If the grant's approved, this project will get underway in mid-2027. And it's a short-term duration project completed by the end of 2027 or early 2028. Keep in mind, we're now building phase 10 right now. There's a section under construction there right now from 22 to Pine Tree Road. The next section from Pine Tree Road out to Lickdale Road is going to construction next spring. And that's a one-year project. So all of phase 10 is going to be done by the end of calendar year 2027, which is really exciting.
It is.
But we need this for safety reasons, for access reasons, and for a whole lot of good purposes. And everything is working to our advantage. We have a study underway right now with PennDOT to look at the crossing and to do it safely and appropriately. So a lot of things are falling into place, and we hope we get this grant application and can do this work in 2027.
Well, I'll move to approve the grant application request.
I will gratefully second it. I'm looking forward to it.
Motion a second. Are there any questions or comments? Sir.
What is a couple questions, Tom? What is a mid-block crossing?
Okay, PennDOT calls it a mid-block crossing. Whenever you have a crossing that involves two individual streets or roads, that's an intersection crossing. Anything away from an intersection is called a mid-block, okay? So it's going to be.
Is that it right here?
That is correct.
And then the parking space will be.
That is correct. And if you look at that map, if you would look toward the top of the map, that it would be taking you to the intersection of Lickdale Road and 72. So if we built the crossing there, it wouldn't be considered mid-block. It would be considered an intersection crossing. But for safety purposes, we want to do it right at what PennDOT calls a mid-block location.
And the campground, I'm sorry, where's the campground?
Campground is where your right hand is,
Oh, this.
right there. And you'll see the easement is shown there as well through the campground. And the campground is loving this, by the way, because this is going to bring a lot of activity to the campground.
Yes, it is.
You know, and they're really excited. So they're on board. They just have to get their national management to sign off on the easement. But locally, they've signed off, but the national organizations have to sign off. So again, we're excited about this.
The other question I have
Yep.
is, you talked about this being a new project. So this wasn't on any of the other plans in the past, things that John's put out. And so was this, like, how did this come about that you now suddenly found out, oh, we now have to do this, or we have a need to do this?
Well, not to talk ill of a state agency partner, but
Go ahead.
But DCNR State Parks was to do this project. We've been working with them for several years to do this project. It just hasn't happened. So John had a meeting with the two bureaus in DCNR, State Parks and Lori Yikes Bureau of Recreation and Conservation. We decided we'd take on this project to make it happen. Okay. The state parks folks at one time had an easement that was not usable, was not feasible for the campground to take and run with. So they just threw up their hands and said, we're not doing anything more, but we have to have a safe crossing. There's going to be, you know, on a good weekend, 1,000+ people crossing at that location. We have to have safety. We have to have it. So we're taking it on. And I don't mean any ill toward state parks. They have a lot on their plate, but we just took this on.
And will this bring everything, because I know the last time John was here, I talked to him, it seemed like things were gonna be delayed a little bit more than what he'd like. Some of it was due to funding, if I remember correctly. Will this bring, when you said about the end of 2027, would that bring everything to an end? Or with some of the other projects that are more down this way, are they still ongoing? And I guess what I'm trying to get at is, when do we think?
Everything
John would
becomes-
love, John would like that to be tomorrow, sure. But when do we think we can put a pin in this and say that trail is finally done all these years later?
Yeah, the 25+ miles, probably early to mid 2028. We're working with Matt right now on acquiring the properties in the Bunker Hill area. We're having some very good success. I had hoped to be sitting here today asking you for a grant application for a project in the Bunker Hill area, but we just didn't get to the finish line with a couple of the properties.
No, that's correct. We had a productive discussion several weeks ago with several of the property owners, and so that's moving in the right direction. I think the discussion is even better than John and I originally
Oh,
anticipated.
good. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. So John Weingart and I and Todd Dissinger went out and met with several of the property owners, and very amenable to working with us.
Yeah, and again, we're thankful for the resource and the legal counsel from Matt. He's done a terrific job for us, helping us with our ordinance and the like. So we're really excited about that too. But that will be the last phase of work that gets constructed, is phase 8 in the Bunker Hill area. And I would
Then
ask
it's
that
done.
with the approval that Commissioner Litz can sign a resolution that we can put to the attachment. I think, Jamie, I gave that to you or Dalton. Good, thank you.
We have a
So then it's
motion
done?
and a second. Are there additional questions or comments?
So when you do phase 8, then it's done?
Then it's done, Laura.
Okay.
Then it's done.
8 towns to Sotara.
That's correct. 25.2 miles.
Ready to go.
And this is our 30th year anniversary for LBRT Inc. We hope some of you will see you this June at a big celebration.
Yeah, the
you have a
volunteers are
date?
so critical to this whole thing. And you, Todd, John, of course, and everyone that's donated so much time to this, and here the fruits are right before us. For not just our county, but for the region.
We're thankful to you, the board, for the support over the last 25, 30 years. Thank you.
Do you have a date for our calendars? June,
June 6th, 10 a.m.
I'm sorry,
June 6th, 10 a.m.
June sixth.
I always have to look up everything. I'm sure Jamie is correct. He's never wrong. Yes,
You're putting him on a pedestal.
he deserves to be on it. June 6th, that is correct.
Why would you question Jamie?
I know, exactly.
Just
Exactly.
a date. I'm not that.
In what location, Colorado?
Pardon?
Location?
It's going to be on the trailhead near the expo. We're going to be setting up the grounds there in association with the expo and having a big deal. State secretaries from PennDOT and DCNR are going to be there, a lot of dignitaries, elected officials, and we hope a lot of fundraising giver people will be there.
Well,
Just
before you-
saying, I'm just
before you-
saying.
Before you can do that, we have to vote on that. this motion. So, if there are any other questions or comments, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. You have that approved.
Thank you, and have a good NPO meeting to follow.
Thank you for hanging in there with us, Tom.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
You've been great.
Jamie, will you bike in that day on the celebration on your bright yellow?
I'll be there, but it won't be fantastic.
On his
I
motorcycle.
think it's cycle with
On his
bicycle.
motorcycle.
No, those are gone.
All right. The floor is yours.
All right, I've got four or five items here. The first one being a change order for the phase one renovations going on in assessment and public defender's office. This is the addition of an electronic or an electric strike lock at the entrance to between the foyer or the entranceway to public defenders and the offices. Very similar to what we've got in some other offices. To add that was not part of the original design, so that add would be $4,884.04 to get that work done before they button everything up.
You know, I have $4,056. Is there,
Yeah, that's the estimate. Then but the change order is with Funk for $4,884.
okay, I guess I didn't get that piece.
There should be two papers there.
Yeah, let's go back.
There you go.
I got it. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the Reed's Lock and Access Control System in the amount of $4,884.04.
Second motion.
Motion and second. Other questions or comments? None. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Same side. Approved.
The Reeds is the majority of the cost, but part of it is with Funk, and Funk's a general, so
Okay.
that's where the change order goes. Next, I have a proclamation for Dr. Ira Byock.
I just want to give this to you, Jimmy. This is an explanation of the total project and flyer for tonight. I'm here. My name is Kathy Hedrick, and I'm coordinator of the Advanced Care Planning Coalition, which is part of the Community Health Council and the Aging Inspired program in Lebanon County. And today is National Healthcare Decisions Day. And thank you for the proclamation to all of you for signing that today in Lebanon County. We are celebrating National Healthcare Decisions Day. Thank you to Laurel, because she did an interview that if you haven't heard, I heard part of it, was excellent. And I understand you'll be using it more. What you were given, Jamie, is that on the 3rd of April, that Levtown gave an excellent article as well. I have flyers here I'm going to just pass out if that's okay. And tonight this morning we had an excellent presentation at Grand Browns, which was held at Phil Haven. Lunchtime, they're waiting for me over in Lancaster. This is a 4 health system program. So we have Penn State, Lancaster General, Wellspan, and what's the fourth? UPMC of Central Pennsylvania. They've all gotten together to support this. So they tell me that's a coup, and I'm really pleased about that. So tonight, I'm inviting all of you with these programs to come hear Dr. Ira Byock, who is a nationally known, excellent palliative care and hospice care doctor. And thanks to Bob for bringing this proclamation here. And we have funding, which is at the bottom, from the Dixon Foundation, from 4 Health Systems, from Kaplan Foundation, from Cornwall Manor, and from Kramer Funeral Home and Crematory. So to me, I'm sitting here listening to all the county business, and I'm very impressed, I must say. But I'm also feeling small in relationship to that. But I appreciate that you are giving us this opportunity to get some publicity for this, because the conversations that we are hoping to start today about advanced care planning, we hope will reverberate throughout the whole community, and each one of you who would participate would be able to do that. So I don't know how can I do this, but in passing, and just say take one.
I'll take one.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you want me to go through?
Yeah, well, entertain a motion to the proclamation. Well, I'll have to read it then.
Okay, so
Second.
Motion and second now. Would you like to read the proclamation for the record?
Whereas Ira Robert Byock was born on February 13, 1951 in Newark, New Jersey. Byock earned a bachelor's degree in biology from the University of Colorado in 1973, a doctor of medicine from the University of Colorado School of Medicine in 1978. Ira completed an internship and residency in family practice medicine at the University of California from 1978 to 1981. And whereas 1982 through 1996, Ira was an emergency physician maintaining an interest in end-of-life care. He was interested in exploring, measuring, and developing therapeutic support for the entirety of a person's experience of suffering, dying, and in well-being. In 1996, Byock led the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation's national program in promoting excellence in the end-of-life care. Whereas Dr. Byock has been a leader in hospice and palliative care for more than 4 decades, a past president of the American Academy of Hospice and Palliative Medicine, and has worked nationally to transform how healthcare systems deliver care to people living with serious illness, and is the author of several influential books. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of Lebanon County, take this opportunity to honor and recognize Dr. Ira Byock for his insights about what people nearing the end of life can teach us about living more fully, strengthen relationships, bring greater peace to our lives. We, the Commissioners, declare today, April 16, 2026, as Ira Robert Byock Day in Lebanon County.
Thank you. That's lovely. And Bob is going to present that to him this evening, right? You give me that look. I don't know. Okay, thank you. He is a beautiful person. We heard him this morning. He talks about wholeness and wellness and well-being in the health systems. And we try to get people to plan their advanced directives so that they are feeling good about that. But by the time they get to the health system, this kind of care is being given. So I'll leave these with you, Jim. You can take care of seeing if people get them.
So all in favor of the are there any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. That approval. Would you like to get a photo or? You do that later.
We'll do that tonight. We'll have to talk. Okay.
Just let you know, Kathy, that this won out because Bob said he was originally hoping to designate this as Navy Blue Blazer Day. And so I said, well, I'll wear one.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. And you look lovely in your blue blazer. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
I'm gonna run
joining
over
us.
to.
Good work.
We are giving out books too. Anybody that comes tonight, will be getting one of his books, the first things that kind of knows. Okay, all right. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.
I was selling.
All right, next item I have is Commission for Women Board appointments. We have 2 vacancies on the Lebanon County Commission for Women with the resignations of Elizabeth Judd and Susan Danielowitz. And the the commission is recommending 2 replacements. They are Elisa Rodriguez and Constance Renninger. And resumes have been attached for your review, and they're asking for those appointments to serve the remainder of the terms. Ms. Judd's term would expire 12/31/28. The second term, 12/31/31.
I'll make a motion to appoint Constance Renninger and Elisa Rodriguez to the Commission for Women Board.
Second motion.
Motion second. Other questions or comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The same sign. Approval.
Okay, and lastly, I have 8 exemption requests with disabled veterans meeting the criteria for exemption from real estate tax. They are Jason Angley of South Sheridan Road, Newmanstown, Brian DeWire of Grace Avenue, Lebanon, Ralph Salomon Sr. of Bower Drive, Myerstown, Anita Miller of Hillside Street, Lebanon, Robert J. Evie of Cedar Crest Drive, Lebanon, Benjamin Luke of Nolan Street, Lebanon, Angel Rivera of Candler Way, Anvil, and Carrie Martin of Bridal Avenue, Palmyra.
Make a motion to approve the exemption requests for the veterans, 100% disabled veterans for real estate.
Awesome.
Motion second. Questions or comments? None, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
On the same side. That approved.
All I have, you have policy, MPO policy.
Okay, is there anything else for the good of the order? Sir?
Yeah, I just want to go back to what we talked about earlier, because I was sitting here thinking, and, again, these gentlemen came here today, but just a clarification on a couple of things. One, and this is directed to, I think, the controller's office, but are all deposits required to go into an account through the treasurer's office, or can elected officials maintain accounts that are off of the general fund books?
As far as I know, at this point, they all go through the.
So if they don't establish an account, and money's going to come in, because I believe at last month's meeting, Tina said that all these funds would come in by electronic deposit. So if someone has a fund, if a department has a fund that hasn't gone through and it's established to come through the general fund, what are the consequences for establishing that kind of fund? What's the consequence for that kind of action where a fund is established and it's not going through the general fund?
I think that's a solicitor question.
In the case of what you're inquiring about with this new account, I think it said the federal government says the account has to be established.
And how can funds be received if there's no, an account established? If the DA's office gets monies through ICE as part of this agreement, and I believe that's been established that possibility is there, that the sheriff's department may receive funds, that's why his department established a fund. How are those monies gonna come in if a fund isn't established?
Obviously, they go through the treasurer's office, there's gonna have to be an account.
I mean, does this bother the commissioners at all that the DA's office is making no attempt? I mean, these accounts were established, these agreements were established in February. We're now at the end of April. It's been 2 full months. And there's no indication that the DA's office is coming to.
I don't like to worry ahead of time. If the money is to come into the treasurer's office and there's no account there, then we will have to react to that. But I don't want to anticipate or get ahead of the district attorney, whether or not she's been notified when funds are coming and if she hasn't gotten a fund set up. So I'd rather wait to let it play out. And if there are safeguards in place for us to receive that money, so let's not make something.
With all due respect, Commissioner Phillips, Leadtown wrote articles in the past about the use of the county credit card with the DA's office, and there was a lot of questions that were outstanding about that particular process. Now we have other monies potentially coming into the county, and I don't understand why. I guess that's your answer, but do you believe or not believe that the DA's office should take steps to establish an account, come through here, establish an account, and have an account established for money?
I don't think anybody's arguing that would be a good practice. I think we're all be in favor of that. But again, it goes back to, it's not our requirement. It's a federal government. My understanding, for the DA to receive a dime has to set up a separate account, and has to be through our treasurer. So I'm not going to make assumption there's already money coming in. You can ask the
The
question.
government's concern about the accounting of those funds once they come in, and if she just establishes a fund that no one even knows that was publicly announced, it just seems wrong to do that potentially do that under this, and it's been 2 months and she hasn't established an account yet. And that's not bothersome to any of you?
I don't know that she's received a nickel, but we can ask.
I didn't say she did, but.
No,
she
I'm saying,
may.
you're saying it's
She may.
wrong, and I'm saying, I don't know that she received a nickel yet, and until that time comes, and we can ask that question.
Well, if I may just ask, if money did come in and the DA hadn't established an account, it would stay in the county treasurer's general fund until it was dispersed to an appropriate account, right?
I don't think we'd accept it.
Not necessarily. She already has multiple accounts in her office.
Yeah, I would accept.
Yeah, I mean, I had to give Jeff the information for that money to be deposited, so I had to give him a routing number and an account number for that money to be deposited.
So it doesn't even, so it won't even go into the Lebanon County Treasurer's office. It'll be deposited right directly into the 287G sheriff account.
Jeff's money will go into the general fund savings account where all the monies come in from the state or whatever. And then I will transfer that in the holding account.
So that's my point. If the district attorney does not yet establish an account, that money will stay there until such time as she does.
Will it route them automatically?
If she gave them that information, I mean, I gave that to Jeff to be able to give to the ICE.
Right, but you're saying the money comes to you and then you'll transfer it to the account Jeff established?
Yes, Mr. Marley, yeah.
Okay, so then if the district attorney gets money, it'll come to you, and I suspect it'll sit there until such time as she establishes her own.
If she gave them that account number and information for that money to go into, she would have to set that up herself.
That's not making
There's
sense.
stuff in there. My assumption is that you cannot accept money unless that routing and information has been already provided to them so that they know where to send that money.
So Mr. Marley had to get paperwork for that money to be deposited. So I have not given any of that information to the district attorney.
So there's no
So there
pathway,
will be no money coming in there for her.
I think is what she said. Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't come to you and sit to you until you manually disperse it.
I did not give her the information for that money to go in there now.
I don't, I think I'm not, each link,
It seems there has to be an account for the sheriff and account for the district
right,
attorney.
but,
Because the sheriff has an agreement and the district attorney has an agreement, so they both have to provide ICE with
But
routing
is-
numbers.
is she saying that the money comes to her and then she will disperse it to Jeff's account and or to Pierre's account?
No. So what, the way it'll happen, the account she established is a general fund account.
Yes.
So it'll come into that account she established and it'll sit there. If the sheriff has an expenditure, he'll code that expenditure to the controller's office. And when that comes through, then the treasurer, if it's $1,000, then the treasurer will dip into the ICE proceeds account and transfer that over to cover that
Okay,
expenditure.
okay.
But if there's, I don't, I mean, I guess maybe the sheriff could answer that. Are you sharing the account
That was my
with the
question.
district attorney?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no routing information because there's no account, I don't know what'll happen to the money. Apparently it can't leave the federal account.
Okay, that's,
That makes
that was
There
the,
you go.
that's what I didn't understand. Gotcha. I'm glad I'm not an accountant.
I'm not either.
But it's possible that the district attorney has set up an account on her own and is already receiving money.
I don't know. You'd have to ask the federal
I'm asking the
authorities.
commissioners,
We're not aware of that. So,
should look into it. I
well,
think. Where's the money going?
I don't make
And
that
then,
assumption.
and who's spending the money and what?
But thus far, no money has come, correct?
As far as we know.
So the sheriff.
No,
As far as we know, and again, according to how the sheriff had to set it up, I don't think a nickel would be dispersed unless it was set up properly.
My question and my concern at the beginning is this 287 money is coming in and there are no procedures established to how to set up the account, how to manage the account, and how to do an audit on the accounts in terms of what's coming in, what did the Fed send, did it make it there? These things haven't
Audits
happened.
happen. In my office, the monies I collect, the county audits my money every year. The state, any monies that I collect for the state audits my accounts. I would assume the federal government would audit the account
The
also.
sheriff has an account, but there's 287 money coming to the district attorney that
And she's not here to answer those questions, but he's responsible for the money in that account, not the commission. Yes, he's responsible for those there.
But the DA also receives money through drug forfeiture. There's no accounting of that. No one can see it. They account, but those are not public records. And so we don't know what some of that stuff's being spent on. She doesn't tell us anything about that. And is this the same thing? And I think these are legitimate questions because ultimately, no matter where the money comes from, it's out of our pockets as taxpayers. It's federal money, it's federal taxpayer dollars, and I think there should be an accounting of it. So that's just my opinion. And you say it might be accounted for, but that drug forfeiture stuff, we don't know what that's being spent on.
Would it be burdensome for the commissioners to ask to have the DA's on? Would that be burdensome?
Of course not.
No,
Then why don't you?
I mentioned that a little earlier.
Thank you.
Is there anything else for the good of the order? No, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Good job.